EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. By using this technique, you must agree to take full responsibility for your own well-being. EFT is not meant to replace appropriate medical treatment or mental health therapy. So what is EFT? EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. EFT is a gentle tapping technique where you tap on specific points on the body while tuning into an emotional issue that has been causing a disturbance in the body's energy system. This disturbance is called negative emotions. Negative meaning something uncomfortable, and emotion meaning energy in motion. So by tapping these points that are derived from the ancient art of acupuncture and acupressure while tuned into a past emotional issue, balance in the energy system can be restored, bringing with it relief from physical and psychological problems. Let's start with the basic instructions for applying EFT. And if you have not received the EFT instructions leaflet with this recording, you can download it for free at www.walkingtall-hypnotherapy.com. So let us begin with the tapping points. The first point is called the karate chop point, and it is located on the side of either hand where the little finger is. And just as it is called, it is the fleshy side of the hand used in karate. Now what I would like you to do is begin tapping this point with the index and forefinger of the opposite hand. You may use either hand. There is no wrong way to do this, as it is a very forgiving technique. Tap this point at least 7 times, and each of the following other points. The next point is the eyebrow point, and this is located on the inside edge of the eyebrow, close to the bridge of the nose. Again, either side will do, whatever feels right or comfortable for you. Tapping this point with the index and forefinger 7 times. The next point is the side of the eye. This point is located on the bone on the outside edge of the eye socket. Tapping this point again with the same 2 fingers 7 times. The next point is under the eye. Again, this is on the bone on the underside of the eye socket. Tapping again 7 times with the same 2 fingers. Next we have under the nose. This point is under the nose between the nose and the top lip. Again, tapping here 7 times. Now moving on to the chin point. This is located in the dip between the lower lip and the chin. Tap here 7 times also. The next point is the collarbone point. To find this point, run your finger from your chin down your neck to about where a man ties a necktie, and you will notice a V where both collarbones meet. Now from the center of this V, run your finger up either side until you notice where the bone angles off towards either shoulder. And it is at the tip of the bone where it angles off on either side. This is where to tap. This is what we call the collarbone point. Tap here 7 times. Next, I would like you to pat under your arm, on either side with the palm of your hand, along the line where a lady's bra strap would be. Pat here 7 times. This is called the underarm point. And the last point is located on top of the head, around where a girl would have a hairband cross her head. pat here with the palm of your hand 7 times. Now, if you need to go back over this section to familiarize yourself with the points before moving on, please do so now. This EFT session is to help you gain relief from tension. Okay, so let's begin your relief from tension session. Now, the first thing I would like you to do is to place your attention on that tension, and I would like you to measure the intensity of that tension you are feeling right now, from 0 to 10. There's no need to go searching for right, conscious, or rational right answers. That message, feeling, sensation of tension that is created at an unconscious level, so the answer may be subtle, that just pops to mind. Whatever number just pops to mind between 0 and 10 for feelings of intensity of that tension is the right answer. Okay, you have that now? So let's begin by tapping on the karate chop point while saying after me, even though I have this number of tension, I deeply and completely accept myself. And again, while continuing to tap on the karate chop point, even though I have this number of tension, I deeply and completely accept myself. And one more time, even though I have this number of tension, I deeply and completely accept myself. Now begin tapping on the eyebrow point while saying the reminder phrase, and each other point while continuing to say the reminder phrase, that tension. Side of the eye, that tension. Under the eye, that tension. Under the nose, that tension. Chin point, that tension. Collarbone, that tension. Under the arm, that tension. And top of the head, that tension. Now I would like you to take a deep breath in, filling your lungs. And as you release that, now, I would like you to measure the remaining intensity of that tension. And if you found your mind wandering to emotional events that may be connected to that tension, or to other places you may be feeling tension, I would like you to return to the beginning of this track, keeping focused at all times only on that with which you started with, as you can work through this recording as many times as you wish, but only gaining the most by staying focused on one feeling at a time. Alright, as you have got this far, I am presuming you have stayed focused on that feeling. So what I would like you to do now is place a colour on that tension. What colour comes to mind when you think about that tension? Again, there's no need to search for right answers. Whatever colour comes to mind when you think about that tension is the right answer. And now that you have a colour, that colour must have a shape. So what shape is that colour? Again, don't question or censor the answer that just pops to mind. That deep part of you responding to every question by searching for a reference point of meaning to the archives of your life's experiences, so that answer of what colour and what shape of that tension is the right answer, no matter how subtle the answer may seem. That's it. Okay, so let's begin again by tapping on the karate chop point while saying after me, even though I have this color and shape of that tension, I am okay. And again, even though I have this color and shape of that tension, I am okay. And one more time, even though I have this color and shape of that tension, I am okay. Now start tapping on the eyebrow point while saying the reminder phrase, that color and shape. Side of the eye, that color and shape. Under the eye, that color and shape. Under the nose, that color and shape. Chin point, that color and shape. Collarbone, that color and shape. Under the arm, that color and shape. And top of the head, that color and shape. That's it. Now I would like you to take a deep breath in, filling your lungs once again. And as you exhale, releasing that now, I would like you to check in on the remaining tension. And maybe if you can move into some position, making sure not to injure yourself, only changing or moving slightly, so that will allow you to check in and measure that remaining tension from 0 to 10. Again, observing only that number that pops to mind of the remaining tension. And if at this point you discover you are at 0 and you have some other area to apply EFT to, you can go back to the start and gain even more relief. And if you have some remaining intensity of that tension, let us continue with the number that has popped to mind by beginning to tap on the karate chop point while saying after me, just because I have a little bit of that tension remaining, I accept myself deeply. And again, just because I have a little bit of that tension remaining, I accept myself deeply. And one more time, just because I have a little bit of that tension remaining, I accept myself deeply. Now begin tapping the eyebrow point while saying the reminder phrase, little bit of that tension remains. Side of the eye, little bit of that tension remains. Under the eye, little bit of that tension remains. Under the nose, little bit of that tension remains. Chin point, little bit of that tension remains. Collarbone, little bit of that tension remains. Under the arm, little bit of that tension remains. And top of the head, little bit of that tension remains. That's it. Taking a good deep breath in again, filling your lungs, and as you exhale, releasing that now. Checking in again as before, maybe by making a slight movement, taking care once again not to injure yourself while you check in once more, measuring again on a scale of 0 to 10 of any intensity remaining. And if any intensity remains, just move on to the next track for mopping up those tiny fragments necessary for you to gain some or complete relief from that tension.